By 2016, my life had never looked better. I had a beautiful fiance who saw the best in me. I had a beautiful son who made me want to be a better human being. I had stability, something that I never really had. I had everything that I ever wanted. But instead of feeling fulfilled, instead of feeling whole or at peace, I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, I can see that internally I felt empty. And it kind of scared me because for the first time in my life, I couldn't tell myself, well, things will get better when I have whatever. Because I had everything that I thought would make me feel whole, but I still felt the same. And that's when the darkness, it hit like it hadn't hit in a long time, which was crazy because you look at my external life, the beautiful fiance, the beautiful kid, living in a nice house, good job, internally just dying inside. You see, most people will make the mistake and they think that healing kind of looks like this. They think that you get what you want and then you finally feel happy and then all the pain goes away. But that's not how it works. Because the reality is, whenever your life finally slows down, your mind no longer has the distractions. For years, my brain had been running on survival mode. Survival of abandonment, surviving self-sabotaging relationships, surviving addiction and depression and trauma. But now, there was nothing to survive. I was safe, I was loved, I was stable, everything was fine. But that's when the real battle started. Because when you no longer have external chaos, the last thing that you have to face is yourself. And I'd been running from myself for 30-something years. There was no more blaming circumstances. There was no more thinking one day it'll get better. There was no more waiting for something outside of me to fix what was going on inside of me. And when you've spent your entire life avoiding yourself, that is a scary place to be. Even though my life looked perfect on the outside, internally, I was spiraling. I fell back into Adderall addiction. I was pushing my wife away. I broke my wife's trust. And at first I couldn't understand why I was doing these things. It's not a conscious thing that I'm purposely just sabotaging everything yet again. And I just couldn't understand why. Why would I start destroying my life when everything was going so good? Why did stability make me uncomfortable? Why couldn't I just enjoy what I had? Because what I had was incredible. But now, looking back and after studying all this, I can see it clearly. When you spent years in chaos, mostly self-inflicted chaos, your brain wires itself for survival. So if all you've ever known is instability, then whenever you get stability, subconsciously, it feels wrong. If your past is filled with abandonment, if you subconsciously have that abandonment going on, then when you finally get real love, it's very difficult to accept it. And your mind thinks it's like a trap, right? Because you created that abandonment issue in your brain. And so in your mind, when things start going too good, that lights up like, oh no, this is scary. They're just gonna leave you. And so you start self-sabotaging. And if your identity has been built around pain, happiness feels foreign, and foreign is unsafe. So even though I had everything that I wanted, my subconscious still didn't trust it. And so therefore it looked for ways to bring back what felt normal. And it tried to convince me that I needed to go back to what I knew. And what did I know? Numbing myself, pushing people away, and self-destruction as a means of control. And that's why people relapse back into self-destructive behaviors when their life seems to be going so well. It's not because they don't want to heal. It's not because they're stupid or weak. It's because your brain is fighting to return to the familiar, even though the familiar is killing you. And this is why addiction isn't just about willpower. It's about unlearning survival mechanisms that once were necessary, but now they're destroying you. But how do you unlearn what's been wired in you for decades? How do you rewrite the script of your life? That's where the real work begins.